Hey guys, well this video is going to be about my cooling modification that I've done to my sump. Now I did do this mod back around, I think it was with the 355 stroker engine that I had in it. But it wasn't the modified sump. So it worked. It was really a good thing as far as pulling heat, extracting heat out of the sump where the oil was sitting. For some reason I did the oil modification and on the oil mod of this particular motor, and I never sort of gave it a second thought to put it back on or to set it all back up again. So I've gone and done it, and it's unbelievable, you know, guys. Something that's so simple yet can be so effective. I'm really surprised it's not a common thing, because it really pulls heat. It's unbelievable. When I was doing it, I had half of it sort of done, and I could feel, even just sitting there, you know, like I could feel the difference from one side where it wasn't done, basically up next to where it was, and it was a considerable amount of heat difference just sitting there. I'm a big believer in it, guys. So the thing is, with turbos, they really heat's a killer in two ways. If you were front mounting it, you've got engine bay issues, and as far as internal inside the engine goes, it creates unbelievable amount of heat. Because of the torque and the cylinder pressures inside an engine over NA, even say horsepower to horsepower, just for example, this was 600 horsepower for argument's sake, turbocharged 600 horsepower versus NA 600 horsepower. Well, this is going to create a lot more heat. It's through the sheer torque that it's producing, and that in turn creates heat, unfortunately. It's a byproduct. So now that I've combated the water cooling side of it, we are still getting heat through into the oil, and we've got no real means of trying to sort of pull a bit of heat out of the oil. I know that the aluminium heads that I run, and I haven't had any restrictions from the oil running into the heads, so we've got a reasonable flood of oil into the heads, but we still have that bit of an issue with the oil thinning out and through temperature. So I was actually going to put a oil cooler on it, but it's extra costs, and it's only, at the end of the day, guys, I'm only doing a short 5 sort of lap sprint, and it's only really an issue over probably this third race. It starts to, you just can't pull temperature out of it, and that's why I came up with this little mod of thinning out the sump area and trying to get rid of that heat. All I've used, guys, is tiles, tile trim that you'd use in a bathroom, kitchen. I do a lot of tiling, or I have done in the last sort of 20 years, and I go through, lots of this stuff. I had a bit laying around, and it sort of just dawned on me to use. And being the resourceful fella I am, I sort of, when I first did the modification, I used some of this, and it was fantastic. So I've gone ahead and done it again, but I only had a small amount of this stuff left over from the other sump that I did, and I reused it again, and I ended up having to buy 4 3-metre lengths of this trim to finish the job. And now we're looking at, I think I've probably doubled the fin, like the length of fins that I've got, because my sump now is that much bigger again. We've doubled the capacity of oil. We're holding nearly 10 litres of oil, and so I've used nearly twice the amount again of fins, and we're going to have an incredible cooling capacity now, with just, even if out on the track, we're getting good airflow under the car still, and we're going to have a benefit there running around pulling heat out of it. But the biggest kicker is when you come in to rest for the 10, 20 minutes, half an hour, that you sit there and wait for your sort of next round, it's working, it's still pulling heat. Whereas an oil cooler will only work while it's running. So that's what really got me excited, because I know that if you pulled up, she's still working away, the oil's all in the sump, and she's still pulling heat out. Slight breeze, just being in the ambient air, it's still going to work. And it's only cost me around $50 to do this little modification. And I feel now that this will solve all the issues now plaguing me with heat that I've had. So I'll show you guys. It's incredible. It really is. It's going to, well, for me, transform the way this beast runs now. It's unbelievable. There you go, guys. Oh, it's incredible. There was a bit of work in doing that too, guys. It's not an easy little job to set up. You've got to be patient and take your time. But that's going to have incredible cooling now in extracting heat out of that sump. Unbelievable. I got the idea from the transmission pan when I bought that. It sort of gave me an idea there, and because I'm always thinking of ways to try and solve little issues and problems, and I do tend to think out of the box a lot. So I came up with this sort of design. It runs right up around the side of it too, both sides, to the height of the oil. I would have said it covers around 90% of where the oil is sitting. So, oh, it's fantastic. I ended up doing my scavenge pump too, that pumps the oil out of the heads. I ended up finning that because they've got a thermal overload switch in them, so when they sort of get to a certain temperature, they'll just cut out until they cool down again and restart. So it's the sort of thing you don't really want. So yes, there you go, guys. It's an inexpensive way of pulling heat out of your oil, is just cladding it in that sort of trim. So it's amazing. I love it. I've only actually stuck it on with just some silicone, and I had no issues before when I did the other sump. None of them fell off or anything like that. They all sort of stuck in there fairly well. And you just got to make sure that there's no grease or oil contaminants, obviously, on your sump and the parts that you're gluing it to. But I only sort of put 3 dollops on each of the longer lengths, and oh no, it holds really well. So there you go, guys. That's the big mod for the oil cooling. I feel now that I won't need a oil cooler, just for what I do. Will be fantastic. It'll get just rid of that heat, keep that oil pressure up, cushion the bearings, because I am running around 2.5 to 3 thousandths clearance in my bearings, my mains and conrods. I run a 2560 oil, so if we can keep that at a nice temperature, not let it get too hot, you know, that's good longevity for the motor, and ultimately reliability. And that's what it's all about, guys. All right, folks. Well, there you go. That's the Modfather budget oil cooling mod. And yeah, we'll see how it works. I actually want to start it up. I will do another vid in the next day or two. I'll start it up, but you won't ever get, look, you're not going to get to see how it is, but I'll talk you through it, and just, you can feel it. When you run the fan in the front, you get some airflow through it. When I did it before, I could really feel the heat come off the fins, and it's quite an amazing thing, and I want to sort of do it again and test it and see how it sort of all holds up, and we'll go from there, guys. Yes. So keen to get it back out on the track. Hopefully, I think there is actually, what are we into now? Sort of, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to Baskerville. That's my next run. So we're going to head down and give that a test, and we'll go from there, guys. Alright, well, I've got some other stuff cooking in my brain, and I'll put some videos up on that I've got in my head. And like I said, we'll test this, and we'll go from there, guys. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that little modification, and you guys can apply it too if you want to. There's an option there. Doesn't cost a lot, it's just a bit of effort, and it works really well. Alright folks, catch you later.